Okay.
Greetings, young women, and welcome back to the free online International Day of the Girl Child mini chess camp put on by Daily Chess Musings. My name is Chris Torres, and I am absolutely thrilled today to be joined by Lauren Goodkind. I've known Lauren for just about 21 years now, and she's a very established, prominent chess coach in our area, the San Francisco Bay Area, and her books have been critically acclaimed by some of the biggest names in chess. Everybody loves Lauren's books, and any chance I have to sit down with Lauren Goodkind and do some chess and help encourage other girls to follow in her footsteps, I am thrilled. I am happy to do that. Welcome to the show, Lauren.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. So we talked a little bit. Can you talk about when you were just starting out in chess? What it was like as a girl starting out in chess, and how old you were, and
So my story, it's interesting. I learned the game when I was about 8 years old, but at that time I didn't take chess that seriously. It was just like any other game, such as checkers or Monopoly. So I would only play it from time to time. I would just play it like with my babysitter and like my family members. So I thought it was fun. Um, and then I just remember that when I was in fifth grade, I was probably maybe 11 years old. I remember that my one of the teachers at the school, she really liked playing chess, so she started a chess club. And I remember that I joined that chess club. And it was fun for a couple of weeks, but it was sadly there wasn't enough interest in the chess club. So I just remember that the chess club closed down. So it was kind of interesting. So again, but at that when I was in fifth grade, I just thought chess. I thought it was fun, but I didn't take it that seriously. And then when I was 15, I started to play chess every day at home. And then my dad, he noticed, and then he's like, why don't we just go to a chess club? And I said, okay. Um, so when I was 15, that's when I started to play in tournaments. And I played in tournaments with my sister. My sister also plays chess. And that's how we got started. And I just remember like when so I used to go to this chess club across the bay in Fremont. And I remember like there was very few girls and
I
women that
can't
played
hear
chess,
Lauren.
but oh hello? Oh, okay. Um
I can't hear Lauren.
um
Can you?
oh,
I can hear
um
Lauren. You can't hear what she's saying?
It might be my headphones are broken.
I think somebody would have mentioned in the chat. If you're here in the chat, sorry to interrupt you, Lauren.
Oh,
okay.
no, I can hear me. So
Um can you
Okay,
guys hear me?
yeah, I think we can hear you.
I can hear you and
Oh,
I can hear me, but I can't hear. Lauren is all garbled.
Let me try this, okay? Now,
okay.
go ahead and can you hear Lauren now?
So I'm talking. Can you hear me? So I'm talking. Can you hear me? So I'm talking one, two, three. Can you hear
I'm
me?
talking. You and I are coming in fine, but Lauren
Mm-hmm.
is. There's
Uh-oh.
a lot of static in the
Hang
background.
on. Um,
Okay.
oh, maybe it was turned up too high. Now, let's go ahead and try again.
So
Testing.
I'm ta
Hang on,
okay,
it's delayed.
testing. One, two, three. Can you hear me? Hello. I'm
I'm gonna try
talking right
unplugging my headphones.
now. Uh-oh.
Hang on.
Okay.
Oh, maybe
Okay,
it
I
was
think
turned
it's
up too
just my
high. Now,
headphones are
let's
broken.
Oh, well, now I've played with all the faders, Megan.
So
Testing.
It's repeating.
Oh no! Ah, live. We're live. Okay. So I need that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna go watch on my phone in the other room then.
Okay, so
And that way I don't.
Megan's going to watch on her phone in the other room to make sure we don't have any more audio glitches. We were scared for a moment that we weren't hearing any of what you were describing. So when we left off, you were going to a chess club in Fremont, and you noticed that there weren't very many girls and women who were there playing.
Yes, that's true. My sister also played at the chess club too. But it didn't really bother me that it was male dominated. The reason why I continue to just go to that chess club is because I just really enjoyed playing chess. I really I don't know, I just I mean chess is such a fun game. I really like winning. So I like to beat my opponents, but um it didn't really bother me. I just wanted to just be there just to play chess. So that's how I got started to play in chess tournaments, USCF chess tournaments. And then I remember that the Fremont Chess Club, I remember that that closed down after I
Mm-hmm.
think 6 months. And so we had to go find a new chess club. Again, at that time I was in high school, and I remember that we found another chess club. It was the Burlingame Chess Club, and I used to go there once a week, and I think it was closer to my house too. So I started to go to that chess club once a week. It was fun. And again, at that club, it was male dominated too. But I felt like it didn't bother me, but it was nice to connect with the other women and girl chess players too. So it was nice. And then I remember when I was in high school, I remember that I went to all girl chess tournaments too.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of those I was actually honored to organize the Sojourner Truth Girls Tournament in your hometown of Menlo Park, right? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Those
Yes,
were
remember.
those were fantastic tournaments, and we even had I'm trying to think if it was from Estonia or something. We had a nice family that would sponsor the top girl from their country and fly them out to play in the tournament as well. It was
The
really wonderful.
the country was Hungary,
Oh, it was
right?
Hungary. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought that was fun, and I just remember the top player, like they would also give a simul too. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember like one year, I remember that there was a Hungarian woman grandmaster, and she gave a simul. So I just remember playing in the simul. Um, that was fun. It was fun. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's great that people were kind to you when you would go. That men and boys were welcoming to you in these chess clubs, even though there weren't a lot of girls. I'm happy to hear that. But we want to encourage more girls to get into chess. I think the Queen's Gambit Netflix series has really sparked an interest in women's chess. And did you get to watch the Queen's Gambit?
I did. I watched it, I think last year, and I did enjoy it, but I don't recommend kids to watch it
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of adult themes in that
Sure.
movie. But besides that, I think that the chess scenes, I think they're great. Um, so I think yeah, so I think the kids, if they watch just the chess scenes, I think that is good. I did enjoy it. So
Yeah. Obviously a lot of people have. Although they had one line in there that's gotten a lot of criticism lately, and that is they changed Walter Tevis's book, and in his book he wrote something like there's the Soviet Grandmaster Nona Gaprinjashvili, but
Mm.
she's not up to this level. And in the Netflix series, they said there's the Russian Grandmaster Nona Gaprindashvili, but she doesn't play men. And I don't know why they changed that, but I can understand why Nona is so hurt by that, because she in fact did play men in the 1960s. In fact, she came out to California and played in the Lone Pine tournaments. I don't know if you ever heard about those. They were really strong tournaments.
No, I didn't even know that she came to California, but that's good to know.
She came to California and played in the Lone Pine tournament. And I think it was in 1971. She beat the U.S. Open champion in that tournament. So yeah, she was definitely playing with men. So yeah, don't let that little bit of history be rewritten by a good fictional TV series, because Nona Gaprindashvili was a real trailblazer in chess. Um, and as are you, Lauren. As are you. I mean, obviously, at a young age, you were one of the few girls your age going to these various chess clubs. I remember seeing you at the Fremont Chess Club. I
Right.
didn't go to the Burlingame Chess Club very often, but it was wonderful while it was going.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean the British Game Chess Cup, this was like in the early 2000s, like 2000 or 2001. And at that time, there's like a lot of people that played there. It was fun, but then eventually, um, like people stopped going. So I think it died down, and then they ended up closing it.
Yeah.
It was good when it was there because I remember when I was there, I remember like there was a lot of strong players. I just remember that there was a lot of people over 1600, a lot of people under 1600. So there's like people of all strength. It was a really nice club. So I used I used to go there every Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was a really nice club to go to.
I
Um,
think you probably ran into people like Daniel Naroditsky.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know. That's the amazing thing about playing chess. You get to meet some very interesting people. Daniel Naroditsky and his brother, they used to go to the chess club, and I remember Daniel Naroditsky when he was 1200.
Yep.
Um, if you guys don't know who Daniel Naroditsky is, he's actually a grandmaster right now. So. And he's actually playing in the US Chess Championship right now in
Yeah.
St. Louis.
The U.S. Closed Championship. He's playing in it right now. And Lauren used to bump heads with him back at the Burlingame Chess Club. Now, Lauren, tell us a little bit before we get going into your lesson. Tell us a little bit about your books and your own YouTube channel, and a couple other things you're doing.
Okay. Um, so I so I read in two chess books, and the first chess book that I wrote is called 50 Poison Pieces. And this book came out, I believe, in 2017. So this was 4 years ago. This book is good for people under 800. And what it is that I created all 50 puzzles. And what you have to figure out what to do is you have to figure out why taking an unprotected piece is a mistake. So like for example, like if you like it's safe maybe it's okay to take a um the queen, but
Mm-hmm.
taking the queen, it's unprotected, but it's actually a mistake, and you have to figure out why. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get beginners to think ahead. And that's very, very important because I notice that beginners, they just tend to just move without thinking. And in this book, you have to think ahead. So like if you take a piece that's unprotected, it's poison, and the consequences might be like you might get checkmated, or you might get forked by your opponent's knight. It could be anything. So yeah, so this is a book, 50 Poison Pieces. And then the other book that I wrote is Queen for a Day, The Girl's Guide to Chess Mastery. And I wrote this book to inspire more women and girls to play chess because I want to do my part to inspire more women and girls to play chess. In this book, readers get to play against Sophia. And this is Sophia. Sophia just learned how to play chess a couple weeks ago, so she's just a beginner. And in this book, um, readers get to play an entire chess game with Sophia from move one to the checkmate. So what I do is I give the reader three moves. So um, so one move is a excellent move. The second move is an okay move, and the third move is just a bad move. And you have to figure out which move you should do. And then once you turn the page, then I explain if this is a good move, an okay move, or a bad move. So I think that this book is a really good way to learn chess strategy and you get to play entire games, so from start to finish. So I think this is a really good book if you're just starting out. Um,
Excellent.
yes. So,
Fantastic. I've heard so many good things about the Queen for a Day book in particular, and the other book, obviously, Thinking Before You Capture. Thinking instead of reacting is so important in chess, and we see a lot of people playing, and I do too. It's fun to play, bullet chess and blitz chess, but what people that are new to chess have to realize is we already know a lot of these patterns. We've already played through a lot of these scenarios hundreds and thousands of times, and so we don't, if we were playing a classical game, we would still take time to think through. But obviously, in chess, it's so important to think before you grab something that's free. Never underestimate your opponent. Just because they have a lower rating and offer you a free piece doesn't mean you should gobble it, because sometimes they are poisoned. So what game are you going to be showing us today, Lauren?
today I'm going to be showing a game that I played 2 months ago, and um, I played this game 2 months ago at New Jersey Cherry Hill. This is the 4-day section of the U.S. Open, and my opponent is 9 years old, and he is from Maryland. So that's cool. I had the black pieces, and my opponent's rating um, is in the 1000s, and I thought it was very interesting because at the end of the tournament, my 9-year-old opponent rating went up to 1400.
Whoa, in one tournament. And so, for those of you who
Yeah.
don't know, the U.S. Open, first of all, that's very rare for a rating to jump that high in just one event. But for those of you who don't know, the U.S. Open is a very historic tournament. It's like, I don't know, close to 100 years old, if not 100 years old. And it is a true open. So, one round, Lauren could be playing a 9-year-old who maybe is going to be a future star, and the next round she could be playing like Alexander Shabalov or something, right? You just it's really cool. It's one of those special things. If you can ever go and play in a U.S. Open, you should give it strong consideration. You might get to play somebody famous. So you're playing the 9-year-old, and what round was this?
So this was the first round, and my advice is if you're playing somebody way under your strength, do not underestimate your opponent. That's very, very important. I think the most important thing is just play your best. And actually, it's very interesting because in round two, I actually did play against Alexander Shelvanov, the
Hmm.
Grandmaster. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Um, so this is how the game started. So my 9-year-old opponent moved e4, and then I went d5. If you don't know the name of this opening, this is called the Scandinavian defense. And I believe at a master level, I don't think that's the Scandinavian defense. I don't think it's that common. But I've been playing the Scandinavian defense for a long time. So this is what I play. So my opponent took the pawn, and then I did take the pawn back with the queen, and then my opponent moved here. And then I think there was two possible moves for the queen to go to. Um, the queen can go to d8. The queen can also go to a5. And then the book line is just go to queen to a5, and then I go here. And then so my opponent moved pawn to d4. This is a good move because you want to control the center. Also notice that when the pawn is here, notice that it opens up lines for this bishop. So this is a good move. And when you're playing a Scandinavian, it's really important for the queen to have an escape square. So I move pawn to c6. So the queen can go to c7 or d8. So you have to just remember if you're playing the Scandinavian, moving the pawn to c6 is very, very important. My opponent moved bishop to d2, and then as you might notice, the bishop, the knight, and the queen, they're all on the same diagonal right now. So I have to be careful because if this knight moves, then my queen would be attacked by the bishop. So you have to be very careful. But right now, the knight can't really do anything right now. So I'm doing okay. I go knight to f6. It's really important to just get the knights and bishops out. So that's knight to f6. Good. Make sure when you get the knight out, make sure that you move the knight toward the center because the knight can control more squares. This knight, it can control 8 squares. That's very, very important. But if you move the knight on the side, notice that the knight can only move to 4 squares. So just remember when you develop a knight, make sure you develop it in the center. So what happened next is my opponent decided to get tricky right now. And again, you might be saying like, "Oh, he just hung a knight." No, he didn't. He's not. He did not hang the knight. Again, as I told you before, he moved this knight here. It's attacking my knight, but also notice that his bishop is attacking the queen. So I can't just take the knight. Um, so my question, so one advice is when you're playing chess, it's really important to ask questions such as what is my opponent attacking? And you gotta look at all the pieces. I just noticed that it's very easy to overlook um something because there's a lot of pieces. So it's just really important to just take your time. In this position, I have to do something about my queen. And then, again, as I told you before, um, my queen needs to go to the escape square. So I go queen to c7. Now my queen is safe. Um, so that's great. And then my opponent, he took my knight, and then I decided to take it back with the E pawn. And the reason why I took it with the E pawn is because I wanted to open lines for this bishop. If I took it with this pawn, then this would not be good for me. First of all, notice that the h7 pawn is isolated, and this is not good. And then this is another pawn group. I would have three pawn groups, and it's not good to have a lot of pawn groups. So that's why I decided to take it with this pawn. And if you notice right now, I have two pawn groups, so my pawn structure is healthy. So what happened is so the bishop goes here. It's a good move. It's just developing. Notice that it's attacking the f7 pawn, and then I decided to go bishop to d6. This is good. And then notice that once I got this bishop out, now I can castle on the very next move. And then my opponent moved here. So right now, this is good. He's just getting the knights and bishops out. Very, very good. And then I decided to castle. And then my opponent decided to castle too. So I think right now, both of us were doing very well right now. I decided to go no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to go I went bishop to g4. And the reason why I did this is because I wanted to pin the knight to the queen. Notice the bishop, knight, and queen, they're on the same diagonal. So that means it would be a really bad idea for this knight to move. If this knight moved, then my bishop can just take the queen. So I think this is a good move. My opponent moved pawn to h3, and it's attacking this bishop. That means I have to do something about the bishop. So I decided to move back. And notice that when I move this bishop here, notice that it's still on the same diagonal as the knight and the queen. So that means that this knight is still pinned. Okay, and then my opponent went rook to e1. I think this is pretty good. The rook is now controlling the e file, so that's good. And then I moved knight to d7. And the reason why I did that is because, again, in the opening, you got to get all the knights and bishops out. I have not moved my knight out, so that's why I went knight to d7. Also notice that when I move the knight to d7, notice that both rooks, they're connected. And that's a good thing in chess. So let's see. Bishop to e3. I'm not too sure why he did that, but he did it anyway. I decided to go.
Where do you think he should have? What do you think he should have done? Maybe instead of bishop e3.
That's a good question. I think if he's aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
then some people might go pawn to g4.
Yeah, that's what I was
So,
thinking. Yeah.
yeah, this move, I mean, okay, I mean, it is protecting this pawn, but I'm not attacking it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's aggressive, then I think pawn to g4, that might be okay because it is attacking the bishop. It does break the pin on the knight. So I think maybe g4 or the I mean another move that comes in mind is maybe go back to e2 to unpin the knight because I mean
Mm-hmm.
if queen moves then I can ruin his pawn
Yeah.
structure.
But yeah,
Um,
moving the bishop a second time. So he moved it to d2 once, and then he redeploys it to e3, maybe without a clear purpose. So that is one tempo that he could have been taking care. Both the suggestions that Lauren made were suggestions that take care of one of his problems. Lauren's nasty pin on that knight on f3. So he could have used a tempo here to address that pin. Instead, maybe he redeployed his bishop and has he might have a very imaginative idea in his head that we'll never know. But it's not clear to us why the bishop redeployed to e3. So it's Lauren's
yeah.
move now. And oh
Um,
wait, no, the bishop's on e3. There we go.
yeah. And so what I did is I moved the knight to b6, and I thought this is a good move because I am moving with a threat. I'm actually threatening to capture this bishop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. Like when you're playing chess, you want to try to move and make a threat. So I think that this is a good move. And again, this bishop's not protected, so he needed to do something about it. And that's when he decided to go back to bishop to e2.
Okay, so he does one of those moves that what we is what we suggested previously. And you know,
Yes.
it's interesting because in a way your knight kind of told him, right? Hey, maybe you should go back to e2. But I don't
Right.
think your knight's going to be staying on b6 very long.
No. I ended up moving the knight to
Hmm.
d5, and now my knight is attacking this
Yep.
bishop. And my knight's in a really good place right now. It's in the center.
Hmm.
So I like my knight right now. Um, so he ends up going bishop to d2.
Oh, so
So
moving it back again to d2. Yeah.
yes.
So
So I guess
basically, if it's kind of magical the way this worked, actually, Lauren. It's kind of unique and magical because his bishop was on d2. And we were thinking maybe he should move his light bishop to e2. And this was when your knight was on d7.
hmm
And now your knight's on d5, and we have the same position. So it's kind of unique and magical how that happened. But when you realize that he played bishop to d2 to e3 back to d2, it makes sense.
right. Yes. So what I ended up doing is I went knight to f4, and now I'm attacking the bishop right
Wow.
now.
Yep.
hmm he decides to just take my knight, and then I decided to take it back. And right now the computer says like we're still equal. So I'm still doing okay. I still like how my bishop is still, still attacking this knight. And I have this diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm doing okay right now. So my opponent went queen to d3, and then I went rook fe8. And the reason why I did that is because, again, this rook is not doing anything. It's really important to get the rooks out and attack. So I think that this is a good move. It's attacking this bishop. So, okay. And then my opponent moved pawn to c3. I mean, I guess he wanted to form a pawn chain.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then what I ended up doing is I went b5. I'm not too I don't know if this is the best move, but I think the reason why I did that is because I didn't want him to go pawn to c4. But I went b5. I don't think it's I think it's an okay move. But that's why I played.
So we had one person suggest possibly instead of b5, Violet's suggesting and Hayden maybe bishop takes knight. Did you want to address why you didn't play bishop takes f3 here?
Um, the so you want to ask, if I take if I move here, how does that help me? If I take the knight right now, then he will probably take it with the bishop.
Mm-hmm.
But how does that help me? Like, how, does do I get some kind of advantage if I do take the knight? Because if that happens, I don't see how got an
It
advantage.
seems like it helped him a little bit. It got his bishop. It made his light bishop better. And so previously, before Lauren took that knight, her light bishop was better, and she had the bishop pair. Plus, that bishop on f3, if her opponent gets those queenside pawns rolling, that bishop on f3 is in a ideal spot for that queenside pawn majority to kind of move forward and support that. So good question, Violet and Hayden.
Yes. Um, yes, because right now, if you notice right now, this bishop, it can only go to two squares. So again, if the bishop takes, and then look at how many squares this bishop can go to right now.
Mm-hmm.
So taking the knight, that's not gonna help me.
No. But
Um,
it's good to look at. It's good, if you have a question, go ahead. Type it in the chat. That's fine. This is how we learn. Even if your thought isn't necessarily a good move, that's okay. We're here to learn.
yep. So yeah, ask me any question. I'm happy to answer. So I went B5, and then what happens next is he went knight to G5,
Ooh,
and this move was very unexpected.
I'll say.
Yes,
Wow.
and yes. Um, so okay, so after he played it, I had to think about what was going on. It's important to ask, okay, what is he attacking? What am I attacking? What's going on right now? And one thing I notice that the queen and the knight are attacking this pawn. And that would not be good for the king. And also notice like, oh wait, my bishop is my h5 bishop is not protected. And notice like, oh, okay, so my bishop and my rook are attacking the bishop on a2. And then I also noticed like, okay, my bishop and my pawn are attacking this knight. So there's like a lot of things going on. So I think like when you're playing chess, you need to think ahead, think of 2 or 3 potential moves, and then figure out which one is the best. So I decided that I figured out like, okay, if my bishop takes the knight, then this bishop can just take my bishop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a fair trade. I also noticed like, well, okay, like if the bishop takes the bishop, then the queen can go to h7, and that's not gonna be good for me. So I'm gonna just ask the audience, what do you think the best move is in this position?
Okay, and we'll give them. There's a slight delay on YouTube, so
Okay.
we'll give them a few moments. But while we're doing that, um, first of all, Lauren Goodkind's website is chessbylauren.com. Chessbylauren.com, and it's a really nice website. And you can find out a lot more about Lauren and all the things she's doing by visiting that website. And you have a really great YouTube channel, right, Lauren?
I do, yes. I have a chess YouTube channel and I upload a video every Wednesday, and I analyze chess games. And yes, it's fun. It's fun. So I invite people to check it
And what's
out.
what's the name of your YouTube channel, Lauren?
It is just type in chess by Lauren.
Okay. Yeah, if
Yes.
so, if you Google search chess by or YouTube search chess by Lauren, you'll find Lauren Goodkind's YouTube channel. And make sure, I'll tell you what, guys, leave subscribe to her channel and watch a video. Leave a nice comment on the video, and I will give you 3 extra points for the chess camp. So make sure you go because I'm a fan of her YouTube channel. I watch a video by Lauren every week. She's excellent at what she does. So we have a lot of suggestions.
Okay.
First of all, let's go in order of how they came. So
Okay.
Manvitha first suggested bishop h2 here.
Bishop to h2 and check. Okay.
So that is a check. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not immediately solving problems. So what happens if bishop h2?
So if bishop goes to h2, then the king can go h1 or f1.
Mm-hmm.
But if the king goes to h1, then what happens? Because again, this knight is still being I'm still attacking the knight, but the queen and knight are still attacking my pawn on h7. I don't yeah, so I think we can do better than
Yeah, you
that.
would. I think you'd
Yeah.
have to maybe play fx g5 there, or bishop g6 in that situation. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
played the bishop h2, probably the next best move right there would be bishop g6. So, but we can do better. And
Yeah.
then let's see. Anna says bishop takes g5. She wants to take that knight, get rid of the threat.
So this makes sense. So if bishop takes knight, then what would happen is this bishop would just take it, and then this would just be a fair trade.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just a fair trade. So it's, I mean, we're still doing okay, but we can do better than that.
Okay, we can do better than that. And then we've got Manvitha chimed in. She had two suggestions that came in this order. FXG5 is the next one. So she's now
Okay.
saying take the knight with the pawn.
Okay. Again, this is just an okay move, but again, if the pawn takes the knight, then the bishop can just take the bishop, and then again, this is just a fair trade,
Mm-hmm.
and we can do better than
Great.
this.
And Hayden and Violet also suggested those two moves, so we've addressed that. That's wonderful. And then we've
Yeah.
got um, Kabibble Kid Eden is suggesting a really interesting move. Rook takes e2.
Rook takes h2, e2. Okay. Wow. That's a very interesting move. I believe if this well, yeah, a lot of crazy things are going on. I believe that the queen can just take this pawn. The king can go here. Then I think what would happen is the rook can take it. If bishop takes, then the queen can go here, and then this is a skewer. Once this king goes here,
Wow.
then I think the queen can go here. It's a pretty crazy line. Um, so I didn't want to go crazy. We want to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good try, but we want to do something
It was it
better.
was it was a very exciting try. Very exciting try. And let me see if we have any others. I think I think that's it for the. Oh wait, Bishop G6 is
Yeah.
considerably fun. Suggests Bishop G6.
Yes, and that's what I did. I went bishop to g6, and I'm going to tell you why I did this. The reason why is because this bishop, it is attacking the queen, and it also protects the pawn on h7. And the other thing is now I'm also threatening two things. I'm threatening to capture the queen, and I'm also threatening to capture the knight.
Mm-hmm.
And this is good because I'm going to be up a piece. So my opponent moved queen to f3, and then I simply just take the knight. And now I'm up a piece, and I'm very happy. But I had to be very careful when he moved knight to
That was a
g5.
scary move. It's a scary looking move because it's very provocative, and there's a lot of possible tactics as you described there. So yeah,
Yes.
that must have got your heart rate up a little bit. That move.
Yes. Yes. When he moved it, it was very unexpected, but I had to be very careful. But I had again, I thought of some potential moves, and then I had to figure out which one was the best.
So you're
So
doing exactly what you tell your students to do in your book. Don't just
yes,
don't that seemingly was offering a poisoned piece, right? And then you
yes.
get checkmated. So you took your time and really looked at it.
Hmm. So what happened next is he went pawn to c4. He's attacking the b5 pawn, and then I went bishop to e4. And the reason why I did this is because I wanted to centralize the bishop. So I thought this was good. Again, it's not safe for the queen to take the bishop because of this wreck. So I thought this was a good. I am attacking the queen. He has to move it. And then he moved the queen to c3. And then I decided to go queen to d7. I didn't want to take the pawn because then he could take the pawn with the bishop, but then I have an isolated pawn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would be good for me. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go queen at d7. If pawn takes, then pawn could take it. And I think this is pretty good. I know that he would have a passed pawn, but this pawn's not going anywhere right now. Um, so what happened next is, so he takes it, and then I take it back, and then what happens is queen to c5, and this is an interesting move. He's threatening to go um, bishop takes b5, and then he's threatening to um, attack the queen. Once the queen moves, then he can take my rook. So I had to be very careful about that. And because of that, I simply just moved the pawn to a6, and now the pawn is protecting the b5 pawn. So I'm doing okay. And then he goes bishop to g5. Again, it's important to ask, what is my opponent attacking? This bishop, it's attacking this queen. I needed to do something about it. And I moved queen to b7. I ran this game through the computer, and the computer did not like queen to b7, and the reason why is because the rook can go and take the bishop, and then if I take it back with the queen, then the bishop can go here, and then and then once the queen moves, then the bishop can take the rook right
Ah,
now.
and even if you take with the rook, the bishop could go back and kind of do the same thing. Yeah.
Yes. But he didn't see that. The reason why I did this is because I wanted to go after the G2 pawn.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't see this tactic, but okay. Instead, he went pawn to f3. I moved back, and then what I ended up doing is oh, I'm sorry, no, he went there, and then I went pawn to g6. I don't know. Um, do you guys want to know why I moved pawn to g6?
Does anybody know why? I think I do. Why did, go ahead and let us know why you think Lauren played pawn to g6 here. Let's see, and we'll give them a moment or two. Again, my name is Chris Torres. I run daily chess musings. This is the free online girls chess mini camp for the International Day of the Girl Child. Right now, I am being joined by Lauren Goodkind, who is a really well-established, well-thought-of chess coach in the Northern California region, and has two really wonderful chess books, a website, Chess by Lauren, and a YouTube channel, Chess by Lauren. Um, but right now, we're just having fun looking at her round one game from the 2021 U.S. Open in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. She just played this in August, so this game's still very, very fresh. And we're still waiting to see if anybody has a suggestion. So far, nobody's typed in. I'll give them just a few more moments, and then I'll take a guess. I'll take a
Okay.
guess if nobody chimes in. Sometimes it's
Okay.
a little bit, it's one thing to guess a move, but
Mhm.
it's something else to guess a whole idea, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. Violet and Hayden suggest it gives the king a way out if she develops her rooks more. That's one possibility, but I think to trap the bishop. Kabibble Kid Eden says to trap the bishop.
Yes.
And uh, Mahant Chintha says so the bishop can advance to f5 or h5, and it gives the king more room. Okay, Lauren, go ahead and tell us which of those or what parts of those were correct.
So the primary reason why I moved pawn to g6 is to trap the bishop. With I could either go h5 or f5 to trap the
If
bishop.
you had your
So that
choice, let's say you had the move right now, which do you think would be better, f5 or h5?
that's a tough decision. I am not too sure. I mean, I guess f5 maybe, but I mean
It's
it's
a little tricky.
yeah, kind of
It is a
tricky.
tricky one
Yes.
because we might imagine that they might even sack their bishop for the pawn. Take one,
Yes.
yeah, take one pawn on the way out, and so then Lauren would either have a pawn on f7 and f5 or h7 and h5. It's these little decisions that are fun, though. Okay, so what happens?
So what happened is he saw my threat and he ends up going pawn to h4, and he did this to save his bishop. But I'm actually really happy because he just gives me a free pawn.
Mm-hmm.
So I go take it, and this is great because now I'm attacking the rook. He goes there, and then I end up going f5. And now I'm very happy because now this bishop is not in a good position right
Not at
now.
all. Not at all. And the only way, when the bishop retreats, I'm assuming it's going to retreat to h3. And then the only way, that he can kind of activate that bishop is by exposing his own king. So it's terrible either way for white. Excellent, excellent turn of events on the chessboard, Lauren. What happens next?
What happens next is I go bishop to g5, and I'm attacking the rook right now, and he goes right there. And then I decided to move this bishop here to attack the rook, and then he ends up going back. And then what I so the thing what I wanted to do is I wanted to move and make a threat, and I ended up moving my queen here because now I'm threatening to take the pawn with the bishop, and then that would be a nasty bishop fork.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I did. So he ends up going rook here to protect the pawn, and then since he left the e file open, I ended up moving the rook over to e2, and I'm happy right now because now my rook is on the second file. This is good for me.
Absolutely. Then what happens?
Then what happens is he goes rook to, I'm sorry, pawn to a3, and he's in a passive position right now. Um, so I think maybe he's trying to figure out, he's waiting for me to make a move. Or I mean, it's very hard for him to make a move right now. I go rook a e8 because again, this rook is not doing anything. That's double up. So I decided to go there.
Mm-hmm.
He moves the king here. Bishop goes there, and then he moves his pawn here, and then I made a move, and it caused him to resign. And the move is rook e, sorry, RA goes to e3. It attacks the queen, and then he resigned on this move. And the reason why I think he resigned is because he's gonna lose material. For example, if the queen goes here, then I can go bishop to e7, and then the queen is trapped.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yes.
I didn't
hmm
even notice that one. Yeah. And then if he
hmm
plays Queen C1,
then I can just take the pawn with the bishop, and
yep,
then he's going downhill.
yeah, he's going downhill fast. Still
Yes.
possibly resigning too early, but you are 100% in command. 100% in command. It was an excellent, excellent game. And Lauren, we got to let these young women go to their camp chess tournament. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, and it was very fun.
Okay, excellent. So remember, You're going to go to chess.com real fast, and you're going to get there in time for your 1 o'clock tournament. Go make it happen, and then after you finish your tournament, come back to YouTube, subscribe to Chess by Lauren. Thank you, and I will see you guys a little later today. Bye.